Guess who's back? Back again. I am back to talk more shit. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Honestly, I thought I was almost done with this series, but you guys seem to enjoy watching these videos as much as I enjoy making them, so why stop now? This is part 5 of 5 scams that have become so normalized that you don't even notice they're scams anymore. If you haven't seen the first 4, I will link to the playlist up here and down there, you can check them out, but let's jump right into this one. The first scam we're going to talk about today is car dealerships. In one of the previous videos in this series, I talked about real estate agents and how I think they're completely obsolete and unnecessary and quite frankly corrupt. And car dealerships are very, very similar. It blows my mind that today in 2023, we still have this archaic business model where if you want to buy a car, you have to go into a dealership, you have to meet with a salesman face to face, and you have to sit there for hours arguing and bickering and trying to negotiate to get the best deal possible. While this way of doing business used to be the norm in a lot of industries, for the most part, it no longer is. Like, you no longer have to go into a showroom and meet with a salesman if you want to buy furniture. And you no longer need a travel agent if you want to book a vacation. You just go online and you book it. So why are we still buying cars this way? Something that's important to understand is that car dealerships are not the car's manufacturer. Even if you go to a branded dealership like a Honda or a Toyota or whatever other brand, they're placing an order with the manufacturer on your behalf and they're upselling you and making a commission off of the sale, but they themselves are obviously not manufacturing the car. They're just an unnecessary middleman. And the part that grinds my gears the most, the part that I find to be the most scummy and the most scammy, is that 2 people could walk into the exact same car dealership on the exact same day and buy the exact same car, but pay 2 completely different prices based solely on how hard you want to negotiate with the salesman or how much of a hard ass they're trying to be towards you.
Is this car $15,000?
Yeah, it is now. And because of your loss, folks, I'll throw in the undercoating for 490 bucks.
Car salesmen have a reputation for being seedy, and I'm certainly not saying that all of them are, but the fact is that in the vast majority of cases, they earn their living exclusively based on commission. So they have a vested interest in you paying as much as possible for the car you're trying to buy. They have a vested interest in trying to sell you as many upgrades and add-ons as physically possible, whether or not you actually need them or want them, because the more you pay, the more they get paid. And as most of you probably already know, in the last year or 2, the used car market has gone absolutely berserk, with prices for used cars skyrocketing, in some cases being more expensive than new cars because there is such a long wait time nowadays to get a new car due to supply chain issues and labor shortages. As a result of this, anybody who needs to buy a car right now is unfortunately completely at the mercy of the dealership because the demand for vehicles far exceeds the available supply, and they're having to sign terrible deals and overpay for things. I've heard of car dealerships recently refusing to take cash offers, meaning that if you want to buy a car, you're forced to finance it through them whether or not you actually need to or want to, and that's because they get a huge kickback from the lender when they sign you up for financing, so they're forcing you to sign into these long-term, high-interest loans. Even if you can physically afford to pay cash for the vehicle, they're either like finance it or you can't buy it. I've also heard of them forcing people to pay for higher trim packages or extended warranties or other add-ons that they don't actually want, basically saying, if you don't buy the car with all of these add-ons, I'm just not going to sell it to you. And because there's so much more demand than there is supply, they don't care. If you're like, screw you, I'm not going to buy the car, that doesn't matter to them at all because there's probably 10 people waiting in line behind you willing to buy that car. And so you can't really play hardball that much even if you want to. Even if you're well aware of the fact that this is a scam, your options are either to suck it up and accept the terms that they're willing to offer you or to not get a vehicle. But the fact that in today's world we can't all just get online and order the car straight from the manufacturer as we want it, in the color we want it, with the specs that we want, just like we do with pretty much everything else we buy, is mind-boggling to me. I know that Tesla allows you to do that, at least I think so. The fact that this isn't standard across the industry by now completely boggles my mind. It's 2023, we don't need car dealerships, we don't need salesmen, we're all capable of making our own decisions and placing our own purchase orders, but of course there's a lot of money for them to make when they can bully and manipulate you into paying for things that you don't want, don't need, maybe don't even understand. I can't believe how many people sign up for car loans and they don't even understand what they're signing up for. They don't know the interest rate they're paying, they don't know the term of the loan, they don't know the conditions of the loan. They just look at the payment and they decide if they're okay with that and they sign on the line. And salesmen love people like that. They love people who don't understand financing, who aren't great at math, who don't understand how these things work.
Okay, here's how your lease breaks down. This is your down payment, then here's your monthly, and there's your weekly.
And that's it, right?
Yup. Oh, then after your final monthly payment, there's the routine CBP or crippling balloon payment.
But that's not for a while, right?
Right.
Sweet.
The best thing I can recommend in order for you to be able to safeguard yourself against these kind of things is just to be educated. Understand financing before you sign it. Understand what you do and don't want in a car. Decide ahead of time what you can afford and what is important to you and what is not, and go in with a clear idea of what your budget is and what you're willing to pay and under what conditions. And most importantly, when you're in the midst of a negotiation, if something just doesn't feel right to you, just get up and leave.
The best defense against bullshit is vigilance. So if you smell something, say something.
Now, speaking of not getting scammed, one of the most important things you can do to keep yourself safe online is to always use protection. And I'm very happy to say that this video is sponsored by Surfshark, who has made it their mission to keep you safe from scammers and hackers while you surf the web. Surfshark is a VPN, or virtual private network. It's an app and browser extension that securely encrypts your data, keeping your private bits private. No, not those private bits. Unless you're sexting, in which case, yeah, I guess those private bits too. Even on public Wi-Fi. Not only that, but because Surfshark conceals your identity and location, it also allows you to access content that is otherwise unavailable in your country by letting you digitally place your computer in other parts of the world. That means that as a Canadian, I can use Surfshark to do things like access American and British Netflix, so I can watch all of the shows that aren't on the Canadian platform. And with Surfshark One, you can even further enhance your online security by getting protection from things like viruses, malware, data leaks, and privacy threats all in one place. And right now, you can get an exclusive Surfshark Black Friday deal. Just click the link in the description box down below and use the code ACCORDING at checkout to get up to 6 additional months for free. Because Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have absolutely nothing to lose. Just click the link below to get started, and don't forget to use the code ACCORDING. Thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. The second scam I want to talk about today is designers. I'm talking specifically about designer clothing, jewelry, accessories, but really anything that has been labeled as a premium designer product. Designer brands like Louis Vuitton, Supreme, Burberry, and the like make a killing off of people who are trying to impress other people. In the vast majority of cases, the products that these brands make are not superior in quality, they're not superior in function, they're not superior in comfort, they're not even superior in style. They're basically just a way for people to try to convey to others that they're rich. The funny thing though is that people who are like really rich, like rich, like very rich, they don't even wear this crap. And if they do, you would never know it. Brands like Gucci and Louis Vuitton often have two different tiers of products. They have the consumer products that we're all familiar with the logos blasted across them, so when you're walking around, everybody knows that you overpaid for the thing that you're wearing. But they also often have a much higher end, much more expensive line of products that you would never even recognize because they don't have logos blasted across them. And so the people who are really rich, if they are wearing those brands, that's what they're wearing, and you may not even be aware of it. In no way am I saying that people don't have the right to spend their money on the things that make them happy. At the end of the day, I live by the philosophy of you do you. But the fact is that when you walk around the mall with a Chanel bag or a Supreme t-shirt, all you're really doing is telling everybody around you that you're financially irresponsible and that you spent way too much money on that thing. Okay, so I was just editing this video right now and I was just looking for some stock photos to kind of support what I was saying, and you guys have to see what I found. This Louis Vuitton bag that looks like it's been eaten by rats, like it looks like half balaclava, half purse. And it's on sale for $4,845. Can you imagine paying $5,000 for a bag that looks like it's been eaten by rats? Are rich people okay, dude? Like, what is going on? I think that luxury designer brands are one of the most brazen scams to ever exist. Essentially, these companies design these products that are often manufactured overseas by low-wage workers in questionable conditions, and then they sell them at a super premium price tag to the public, often to people who can't even afford them, who are just trying to look like they can afford them to try to impress other people who, by the way, are not even impressed by you. I promise you, nobody cares. But people are putting themselves into thousands of dollars of debt sometimes, buying these products on credit cards that they can't pay off, just to be able to look like they have money that they don't have, and you're essentially paying thousands of dollars to advertise for this brand, to walk around with a logo blasted across your bag or your shirt or your sunglasses or whatever else. And so you've become a walking billboard, but you've paid for the luxury to become a walking billboard. Like, if I'm gonna walk around with luxury brands blasted all over me, I'd want the brand to be paying me. I'm not gonna pay them for that. The ultra rich often wear brands that you and I would probably never recognize, or probably never heard of, and the only people who would recognize them are the other people who are ultra rich. And the whole point of that, I think that's what the kids nowadays are calling stealth wealth. It's about not flaunting your wealth, because the people who actually have it don't need to prove it to anybody. The people who are trying to show everybody what they have often don't have anything at all. Don't go broke trying to look rich, and don't get scammed into believing that anybody's impressed by what you're wearing, because they're not. Alright, scam number 3 is probably going to rattle a few cages, but I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy rattling cages. And that is the all-natural movement. The reason I have a problem with this right from the jump is that the phrase natural has no meaning, and I think that's a really important fact to start off with. There is no specific designated definition of the word natural when it comes to products. Everything in the world is natural because we only have the resources that are on this planet. Everything in the world, regardless of how safe or dangerous it may be, originated from plants, animals, minerals, air, Like, that's water, that's all we have. So the idea of something being unnatural is in itself impossible. But not only that, some of the things that are the most natural and in their most unadulterated pure form are also some of the most poisonous substances on Earth. I'm talking about things like cyanide, which guess what? Comes from the seeds of an apple. Or how about opium, which comes from a poppy plant? Like, yeah, the same poppy that we all wear on Remembrance Day, the same poppy that puts poppy seeds on your bagels also makes one of the deadliest drugs on Earth. The idea that just because something's natural, it's automatically superior and healthy and safe for you is ridiculous from the start. But even more laughable is the idea that just because something's unnatural or synthetic or man-made, that it's inherently bad for you or dangerous, which is completely bogus. I will never claim to be the most educated person in the world, okay? I have a high school education only, so I consider myself to be pretty average at best. But as I've gotten older, I've realized how much of the population is completely scientifically illiterate. And people assume that just because they can't pronounce something or they don't know what it is, that it's automatically deadly. And I hate to break it to you, but your level of comprehension or lack thereof is not the designation for whether or not something is good or bad. I remember when Beyond Meat burgers first came to market and there was just videos everywhere of people gasping and acting all dramatic about the ingredients because, oh my god, there's pea protein isolate in it. That's 3 words. 3 words are too many words. It's pea protein isolate, as in isolated protein derived from peas. Peas are natural. Breaking news, peas, green peas, they're natural. And yes, they have protein. And yes, you can isolate that protein and it doesn't make it bad for you. But the part of us that I think makes it a scam the most is the fact that the all-natural movement has created a multi-billion-dollar industry based on pseudoscience, fear-mongering, and lies. Basically with the idea that if they can convince the public that substances that are perfectly safe, that we've been using for decades or centuries in some cases with no ill effects, if we can convince the public that those things are deadly, that they're going to cause cancer, that they're going to cause Alzheimer's, that they're going to cause all sorts of terrible diseases, we can now sell them products that never needed to exist in the first place. If we can convince people that the aluminum in their deodorant is going to kill them, then we can sell them the solution. If we can convince people that pea protein is going to give them cancer, we can then sell them the alternative. The truth is, when it comes to toxicity, almost anything can be dangerous if the amount is wrong. And that's the part that makes this important, is the quantity that we are consuming or using based on whatever use we have for it. Like even water can be toxic to you. You can consume too much water and it can flush out all the electrolytes in your body and all of the minerals. It can cause serious issues. Oxygen oversaturation is a real thing too. Yes, even oxygen can do you harm or maybe even kill you. And again, to talk about opium for a minute, opium makes morphine, it makes heroin, it makes fentanyl, it makes the most dangerous, most addictive drugs. But nobody panics when you have poppy seeds on your bagel, even though yes, poppy seeds do contain a very, very, very tiny amount of opium. But they don't make you sick because it's all about quantity and it's about saturation. And so while I certainly wouldn't recommend eating aluminum foil for lunch, the very small amount of aluminum that is in your antiperspirant is probably not going to do any harm to you at all. Mind you, if you don't wear antiperspirant, it's going to do a lot of harm to a lot of people because you're going to create like a nuclear weapon in your armpits. So please use deodorant, please use antiperspirant. Like please don't walk around smelling like a rancid onion bun just because you've been convinced of something that isn't true. And so just because something is natural doesn't make it safe, and just because something is unnatural, which isn't really a thing anyways if you ask me, but okay fine, just because something is unnatural certainly doesn't make it deadly or dangerous inherently. And the idea that we should be paying a premium price for inferior products just because supposedly they're healthier even though there was nothing wrong with the original product in the first place is a scam. Speaking of rattling cages, scam number 4 is one that I have touched on briefly in this channel in the past, but it's something that I have a lot to say about. I think I have a lot to say about a lot of things. Oh well. I have 2 words for you. Amazon Prime. Oh boy. Here's the thing about Amazon Prime. Where do we even begin with this one? Okay, let's start with the claim that it is free shipping. First of all, Amazon Prime is not free shipping. You are paying for it every month. What's it, like $10 a month? $10 a month is $10 a month, but it's not free. So that's number 1. That's just right off the top. $10 a month is $120 a year, and last time I checked, $120 is not 0. But the real scam of Amazon Prime is not the $10 a month that you pay. It is the psychology that goes into why you use Amazon Prime, and more specifically, why you use it as much as you do. I think there's a lot of people who don't realize that Amazon shipping is free when you hit $35, even if you don't have Prime. So the truth is that if you're spending more than $35 at a time, you don't even need to be paying for your Prime membership. I use Amazon from time to time. I do. I don't have a Prime membership. I just wait till I have $35 worth of stuff in my cart, and then it ships for free, and I don't have to pay the membership fee, so that's easy. And you might be saying, well, I use the shipping, and I use the streaming services, and $10 a month is worth it to me. And that's fine. You know what? Yes, I will agree with the argument that if you use all of the services that Amazon offers to you for that $10 monthly fee, it may not be a bad value. But, this is a big but, The fact that you have Amazon Prime statistically means that you spend way more money on Amazon than you otherwise would because you have access to it. Because of Amazon Prime and the ability to check out with just one click, there's nearly zero friction between the initial thought and the purchase showing up on your doorstep. Studies have shown that the more steps you have to go through when you're making a purchase, the more friction that there is between the initial desire and the actual completion of the purchase, the more likely you are to back out because you have more time to consider and think over whether or not you're buying something you actually need to be buying or actually want to be buying. So if you have to go through and log into your account and add in your credit card and select these different options, by the time you get to the end of the checkout, there's a possibility you may have changed your mind. And Amazon knows this, they're brilliant. And so they've designed their website to have as little friction as physically possible, meaning that the moment that you think about it, you click once, boom, it's done and it shows up at your door. I mean, there's an entire phenomenon of people ordering things from Amazon and not even remembering what they've ordered by the time they show up 24 hours later.
Oh God, it's so unnecessary.
We could talk endlessly about the lack of delayed gratification in society and all of the effects that's going to have on us as a civilization in the future, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about the fact that because you have Amazon Prime, you use Amazon Prime, and you use it a lot. You buy things without even considering them. You buy things without even checking to see if you're going to get a good deal. Hot take, but Amazon is not even necessarily always well priced. Like a lot of the times when I'm looking at something on Amazon, I can actually find it cheaper elsewhere. Amazon Prime enables impulse shopping. It gets you hooked on the dopamine rush of ordering something and having it show up on your doorstep 24 hours later and then doing it again and again and again. It disincentivizes you to shop around and compare prices. It disincentivizes you to think about purchases before you make them. And as a result, you spend so much more money than you otherwise would. Honestly, when I put things in my Amazon cart and I leave them there waiting to hit that $35 minimum spend, a lot of the time, by the time I go back, I no longer need or want those items. And so if I had Amazon Prime, I may just order them without thinking twice about it. But a lot of the time I'm able to just delete them and move on with my life because I no longer want them. But when you have Prime, you don't have that waiting period. You don't have that opportunity to think it through and to consider whether or not this is a good purchase. The truth is that even if Amazon Prime truly was free, like even if you didn't have to pay $10 a month for it, it's still a scam because it has successfully hooked everybody on impulse shopping and completely wrecked people's ability to manage their money responsibly and to consider whether or not the purchases they're making are necessary and in line with the financial goals they have for themselves. I know most people aren't going to want to do this, but if you can, cancel Amazon Prime. Try it out for a month or two, go without it. See how it affects your spending, see how it affects your finances. You might find you don't actually need it. And guess what? If you do actually need something from Amazon, just wait till you have $35 worth of stuff, boom, free shipping, and you still get it at your door within a day or two. And finally, scam number 5 might be the scammiest scam that ever scammed, and that is cryptocurrency. When this first became a thing a couple years ago, I gotta be honest with you, I didn't get it, like at all. People tried explaining it to me and I was like, am I really stupid or does this just not make any sense? It was like money that wasn't real money and was generated out of thin air, but then could be used to buy real things, but you could also like bet on it, kind of like a stock market. And I was like, but it's not money. Like when you go to the bank and your account shows you have money in your account, that represents real dollar bills that you have earned that you can take out in cash. But cryptocurrency is generated from somebody's computer and like it's mined out of the earth, but hard drive, like what? Maybe I'm old, and listen, if I'm missing something here, you guys feel free to let me know in the comments. But it turns out the cryptocurrency actually was a scam, that it was never really anything more than a speculative investment opportunity. I'm hesitant to even call it an investment, more like gambling. Cryptocurrency was quite possibly the biggest Ponzi scam, the biggest pump and dump that I have ever witnessed in my lifetime, where if we could generate a whole bunch of artificial hype about these certain coins, which again, like where did they come from, what are they, do they exist? I don't think so. But we could basically create a whole bunch of artificial hype, get everybody to buy in on the crypto market, which would of course cause the price to increase, and then everybody at the top could withdraw their money, transfer it back to actual real money, and watch it drop and watch everybody else lose their ass. I'll be honest with you, and I'm not at all proud to admit this, but during the hype, I bought some crypto, and I bought it knowing that I didn't understand it, which is a really, really bad move. Like rule number 1 of investing is don't invest in things you don't understand. And I truly didn't understand this, and I bought some Ethereum. I bought $1,200 worth of Ethereum, which thankfully is only $1,200. $1,200 for me is still a lot of money to gamble with. It's a lot more than I should have bought. But I saw things going up, 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 and like everybody else, I wanted to jump on the train and make some quick cash, and I never cashed it out, and today it's worth like, I don't know, $550 or $600. It's worth basically half of what I paid for it. And at this point, I'm just gonna leave it there. And hopefully one day, if it gets back up to $1,200, I'll just cash it out and take my money and run and never do that again. But I shouldn't have done it, and I'm embarrassed to say that I did. The point is that crypto isn't real, and it's really weird how, especially for a lot of young men, it has become their entire personality. Like we talked about MLMs in the last video about companies like Avon and Mary Kay and Primerica and all that crap. Cryptocurrency was basically MLMs for like dudes. Like they just wanted to get everybody to buy into whatever bullshit coin they were trying to hype up in that moment so they could take their money and run and leave everybody else holding the bag. I get a lot of comments asking about investing advice, and I can't give you investing advice. I'm not qualified. I'm not a financial advisor. I can tell you how I invest my own money, which is predominantly in S&P 500 index funds and other things that are simple and generally considered safe and things that I understand. Crypto was kind of a deviation from the norm for me. It was a bad call. We all make mistakes once in a while, and I'm very grateful to say that I only invested as much as I did, and I will never do it again. Even if things start to get high again with crypto, I can promise you I'm out. Like, give me my money back and let me out of this thing because it is a scam. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It never has. It never will. It's a Ponzi scheme. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it. Basically, it's when this person gives money to this person, to this person, to this person, with the idea that it's gonna come right back. And at the end of the day, somebody's gonna get rich, but it's probably not gonna be you, and it definitely is not gonna be me. Anyways, that's it for this video. This has been part 5 of 5 scams that have become so normalized, we don't even realize they're scams anymore. Honestly, when I made the last video, when I made part 4, I wondered if you guys were getting sick of this. Like, I really enjoy making them. It's very bizarre to me that it's become part of my job to just like sit in front of a camera and talk shit, because I love talking shit. But I wondered if you guys were getting sick of these videos, and part 4 seemed to get an even bigger response, an even better response than the first 3, which had already done pretty well, which tells me you guys seem to be liking these videos. So if so, drop a like. Let me know in the comment section down below that you want to see more of them. If there's anything that I haven't mentioned yet in any of these videos that you think is a scam that's flying under the radar, drop me a comment down below and let me know. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. It's free, it takes you 1 second, and it'll keep you in the loop when I post more videos like this one. You can follow me on Instagram at according_to_Nicole. Other than that, thank you guys so much as always for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next week.